We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Prospero.ai stock market live streams. It is Wednesday, October 15th, 3 p.m. EST right now. I see JC is already in the chat. Hello, JC. Good afternoon, all. Good to see you here. I hope you're excited for another great stream. The markets are currently green across the board, although the Dow Jones, the QQQ, the SPY, the Russell have all dipped into the red earlier today, but all coming back off those lows, and the VIX is in the red now. So we'll see how we close here. Hello, Nick. Welcome back to the stream. Nick saying hello. Our YouTube chatters are so much more active in the chats. Thank you, everybody, than our Twitter viewers. Evening all, said Marcin. Good to see you back. What's up, everybody? We're going to go through the topics we have planned for today. Let's check the QQQ and SPY net options sentiment before we get into those. If we have any new viewers popping in here, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Follow us if you're watching on X, and like it up as always. We're going to have a great stream. So the QQQ and SPY net option sentiments are still remaining quite low, although we've had a bit of a rebound since that Friday plummet in the markets. The QQQ is now at 2 and the SPY is at 0. So not quite buying this rally just yet. There we go. We got a comment from X, John Lindhay, new viewer here. What's up, John? Welcome to the streams. Good to have you here. I think you're going to enjoy our content today. We're going to be talking about the Trump administration considering setting price floors. Basent has made some comments about this today. So we'll go over that. And obviously, we've been tracking the rare earth minerals on the streams a lot. And a lot of those stocks have been highlighted recently, and they're going crazy with all these headlines. The U.S. Army, in another story, is also looking to up their nuclear capability and thinking about building micro nuclear reactors, which the nuclear stocks were liking up. So a lot of those hot sectors of the market have continued, although I think if I did see correctly, some of them were cooling off today, finally, after mega rallies for those stocks. I think MP and USAR were down a bit, and TMQ as well. So we'll have to get George's input on what is going on there. Oh my gosh, I just opened the list, and I see HIMS stock is up 17% today. What's going on with HIMS? Does anybody? That was not on our list of topics, but up quite a bit, and a lot in just the last about 30 minutes. So I wonder what is going on there. Maybe we could have somebody do us a little research, and we'll talk about them at some point today as well. But yes, those are the topics. And also AMD rallying more so than a lot of the other semi stocks here today. And I found it interesting when I looked at the year-to-date gains for AMD versus NVIDIA, just how much AMD is outperforming them. So I'm going to ask George, can that continue? Is that something that, it's NVIDIA's size is hurting them, and maybe for the foreseeable future, like the next couple of years, we're going to see AMD outperform NVIDIA? So we'll ask about that. I see Mario is in the chat. Hello, Mario. Welcome to the stream. JC would love to hear George's take on the roller coaster of UAMY. We will get his thoughts for you, no problem at all, once he hops in here. Another stock I wanted to bring up on the stream today was Bunge. There's a lot of stocks that I feel like I have never even heard of before that are making big moves in the markets nowadays, and Bunge is one of those. After it's another government-related story, but considering a oil embargo. So Bunge is the largest soybean producer in the world, and it would greatly help them, and their shares were up. So we'll take a look at Bunge stock. They actually are in Prospero, so that is why the story made the cut here today. We're going to talk about Apple releasing insights on their new products, which are set to come out in just about a week from today. We got a few new updates. I see JC HIMS is including premenopause and menopause care to their platform. I see. The market likes it. Yeah, it looks like the market does. Well, it's not just HIMS, it's HIMS and hers, right? But yeah, so we looked at HIMS, and they were up 17% just a few moments ago. Let's see if that is still the case. Yes, up 18% now. So we'll keep our eyes on it throughout the stream today and probably bring it back up at some point. Two more stories to run through. uh, of the list of topics for today. We have Progressive with a nice earnings miss. So I want to ask George about the insurance space. Is that a place to be worried in the current state of the economy, macro? And maybe this is why Berkshire Hathaway stock, I know they have a lot of exposure to insurance. Maybe that's why they haven't been able to really outperform the market at all this year. I checked earlier, they were up 7% year to date. So not great performance for Berkshire. But I'm wondering if we do see some declines in the insurance space, will Berkshire just buy up even more? So we'll get into all of that. And then last but not least on the stream today, we are going to be talking about Apollo Global, which is making a bid for Papa John's, and it sent Papa John's shares up quite a bit. I feel like the food industry, a lot of those stocks have not done well this year. Papa John's was no exception. But the shares are still trading quite a bit below the offer. So Papa John's is currently at 53 and the share price offer is 64 if this company is taken private by Apollo Global. So still pretty good value there if you think this deal is going to happen. So we'll get George's opinions on how likely he believes it is to be. By the way, everybody, I know I forget who commented on our last stream on Monday about the like count being, higher than usual, and it is approaching being the most viewed stream ever. Um, so that's pretty cool. So thank you guys. Hopefully you've been loving up the streams. If you've been here since the very beginning, hopefully we are hitting that peak growth phase. I see we have 25 people in here already on YouTube, which is pretty good, and a lot more on X. That's where a lot of views come from. So just appreciate you all being here. Wanted to get that in the stream at the beginning today. All right, let's take a look around the markets, see how the Magnificent Seven is moving, and if we could eye any other stocks like HIMS that was moving crazy that we just caught on a little look around. And then we'll get into the topics shortly enough. We will do the model portfolio update as usual at the end of the stream today as well. So if you're a new viewer, at the very end of the streams, George goes through the model portfolio and he makes lives, adds, and drops. So you get to see that for free on the streams, but it is at the very end. So we have Apple in the green, Amazon in the red, Google green, Meta, Microsoft green, Tesla green, a lot of green. Then we have Nvidia. Ooh, Nvidia is just barely green right now. Basically, essentially flat for the day, up 0.02% at the moment. So, but AMD still up 9% and hitting highs. So it looks like that topic of outperformance is going to be something to behold. Can you believe just in April of this year, AMD was under $80 per share? Kevin said, look into NVTS. This is the company that NVIDIA has like a stake in or something? I think we've brought them up on the stream a long time ago because I do have them in my list of stocks to watch. They're up 19% today, and they've climbed a lot. Wow, 150% in the past month. See if they're in the Prospero signals. NVTS. Yes, they are. 90 upside, 90 net option sentiment, 79 upside, 9 downside. Interesting. Wow, and downside really went down throughout the month of October. Maybe we'll get even George's thoughts on NVTS, looking like a good Prospero pick. Jonathan, George added them yesterday. There you go, from Will. Would love to know George's thoughts on CLSK. It's been on a nice run. CLSK is one of those Bitcoin mining stocks, right? What is it? Clean Spark? CLSK. Another, wow, 90 net options, 77 upside, 28 downside, 81 growth. Another one that's looking good in the Prospero signals. Nick said, give me Steven's thoughts on SoFi. Let's check out SoFi in the Prospero app. Wow, Nick wants to hear Steven's thoughts on SoFi. There we go. Long term, we have a 79 upside, 73 net option sentiment. SoFi, it was doing very well, but it seems to have lagged recently, especially when I feel like we saw a shift in sectors of where the market was like getting most excited about growth stocks from like fintech, which we saw Robinhood and SoFi really doing well, to kind of more now nuclear and the minerals and The data center companies like Iron, like CLSK, and a lot of those. So I'm not sure if SoFi would be in that upper echelon of the growth stocks right now, but it does have decent Prospero signals. So not terrible. The man, the myth, the legend. George has joined us. Hello, George.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of questions right off the
Hmm.
rip here today. Everybody is excited to have you, especially on this wonderful green day. Just before we get into a lot of the questions that we've already been getting in the chat, we have had over 500 people tune in already in just about 10 minutes. So let's go. It's a great start to the stream. Um, we are seeing the markets in the green, but we are still seeing the QQQ and SPY net option sentiments not play along in the Prospero app. 2 right now for the QQQ and 0 for the SPY. Now we know how predictive these were last Friday, and I found it actually ironic last week when that happened because last Wednesday stream, I finally asked you because I had been eyeing up how like the signals had been weak for a bit, and I was like, "Are you looking at them as closely as you used to? Are they as predictive as they were?" And then right after that, the market dropped when they were weak. So, what are you making of this week's action where we're seeing kind of a little bit of rebound, but the signals are still pretty low?
I mean, yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I don't think we've ever had a Prospero event quite like that prediction. And it came in waves. It was kind of just like I think what made it interesting was I was on a live stream with Jordan Ace the Kid TA on X, and I literally like I said the day before I was like he was asking me like what I saw for the market on the longer term, and I was basically like, thank God I have the Prospero signals because like I don't think I could look much more than one day ahead. Um, and then it kind of went down like that. And then Holmar's blog, Omar, which by the way, I do these bull bear debates with him. I'm doing one on PayPal at 4:30. I always get the bear side because that's the harder one. But I think PayPal was one of the easier ones to do. I thought Tesla was going to be the hardest, um, but when I did it, like I think it was the Nvidia one was just brutal. I mean, not only were these like rabid Nvidia people that knew like they also knew way more about the intricacies of computer chips than I could ever hope to know. Where it was just like, well, I don't know how to talk about like the different foundry systems of creating a chip. Like, and so yeah, they got down in the weeds. That wasn't fun to be that bear. But anyway, he shared it, and then that blew up. And what was crazy about it is I think like 160,000 people saw it, which like there's been, especially recently some posts that had like, over 1 million views that we were mentioned in. Um, but we got like our followers increased by like 25%. Um, and then, in the span of that long, like a short time, not only did our X followers like increase, but like our crowd fund increased by like I'd say even more. It was at like 280 and now it's at like 350. So what increase is that? I mean, it's a lot. So, I kind of want to see because I want to have that I want to have that quote.
Well, if I'm reading the incentives correctly, it sounds like you probably want to have the market drop like 2 or 3% in a day again. It worked out
Yeah,
pretty good for
yeah.
us last time.
26% in like yeah, since that prediction. So thank you to all the new people. I thought it might be more, but yeah, that kind of similar numbers in our follower increase on X and our investment increase. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get that momentum. It's always nice for us and for me. I mentioned sometimes like how long we were building these signals before, like what I normally say before anybody really cared about them. um, it's been a long time, and then even since they've been out there and people have known about them, it's taken a little bit longer for them to be kind of more widely used. But yeah, when you see something like that, um, where there's a lot of people on the internet just being like Prospero predicted the market. I mean, those of you who have been with us for a while know that it's not rare that we predict the market or a stock. But it was cool to get that credit. It's been a lot of hard work for me and everyone at Prospero. And that validation is really cool.
So seeing these signals still low that predicted the market, that has to have you positioned pretty cautiously while you're seeing this, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we've been saying online too, and I think it's important. There is a difference between QQQ net option sentiment going to like 30 at close on Wednesday, and then um, 0 at open on Thursday, right? That's a huge. That could only really be um, what it turned out to be, like some prior knowledge of um, or a lot of nervousness um, around something. And I really just like, I really just think that like it probably has as much to do with people around the president um, knowing his mood about things than it has to do with um, information being directly leaked. Or some people are even saying it could just be knowledge about how the thing in how things with rare earth metals were escalating. Whatever it was, um it definitely seemed like some people were aware of it. And obviously for our signals it really moves. But bring us to now, there's a difference between going to 0 and staying at 0, right? Because staying at 0 just means the negative market bets aren't being pulled off. Not that there's necessarily new ones going in. Um, and if you think about what happened on Monday, that big rally, the fact that they haven't pulled off, I do think does say something about the expectation that this is not over. And we can see, right? If you look at what's happening, the back and forth, like everything's fine, and then you might have the tariffs, you might not have the tariffs. We're kind of back to that kind of zone. And like, yeah, you have to think about it like that. It's not a guarantee. We already kind of saw the big prediction happen when they moved, right? But the other side to it um, is definitely I don't think anyone's sure that it's over. And I don't think that they're wrong about that. But it's pretty obvious, like whatever way it goes, people are still concerned. Whether they're concerned because they like have a high degree of confidence that something's going to happen, or they just don't know. That's the part that we don't really know, and that's the part that's hard to predict. But the hedges are staying on, and like we're going to be on guard. Right now, we're a little more short than long. We're going to be on guard until that's resolved.
So we got a few questions, we could start to jump into them. So JC was asking about just your thoughts on the roller coaster that UAMY stock has been. I saw a lot of those mineral companies are down today, but they have been super high flying. So it's not like all of the gains have been erased, but they are down like 10 to 20% for a lot of them. There was this headline that came out that Besson said the government might implement some price floors for some of these minerals to combat China. Could that? I thought that would be bullish. Is that bearish for these companies if that were to actually go into
No,
place?
price wars are definitely bullish. I mean, who knows with these? Like UAMY just like ran so much. You never know when it takes profits and the bots get involved and blah blah blah. You never know when that's going to be the case. Um, but uh, yeah, it should be bullish. But that UAMY run was epic.
Yeah. So like when these
Only
stocks
be
are
described.
running for like a week straight and they pop like 100%, you should kind of expect a day where they cool off like this, right?
I mean, eventually it does have to happen, right? I mean, and the stock that like I've watched for a while um is Open Door. Ever since I first went in, I'm fascinated by that, right? And what I've noticed about it as a runner, like it goes up like, 20% and 30% and then down that much too. Like its chart is absolutely nuts. And I think um we're gonna like UAMY is tough. I could see it rebounding tomorrow just as much or going down a lot more. We're gonna have to watch. We're gonna have a quick trigger on the out. Like net option sentiment is a little down on it. I'm kind of wondering, should I like cut my losses on it? But no, I think I'm just gonna have a quick trigger tomorrow if it doesn't come back, because it could come back to your point. Like that's positive news. Um, you never know when people are just shorting it opportunistically. I'm sure people would just love to get it lower because it's going to go on a run.
Another sector that we've been covering and it's gone crazy, the nuclear sector. We have SMR up 16% today, now hitting, I believe it's either right at or brand new all-time highs. Oklo is slightly red today, but they've been up a lot over the past week as well, up 27%. Oklo is now a $25 billion company. And can you believe just like a year ago, I brought up Oklo on the stream and I was just like, hey, there's this random nuclear stock. Sam Altman's involved though. And now, like what it's become over the course of the last year, it's so crazy. And these stocks are moving now that it's confirmed that the US Army is going to further themselves in nuclear, looking to build micro nuclear reactors. I don't know. It's like this sector, I've never seen anything like it. They're all going crazy. What are your thoughts on it now?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that we do know, and I mean, let's talk about the implications of micronuclear reactors. Um, like, there really could only be a couple reasons that you would want a micronuclear reactor. And neither of them sound like any fun to be in wars with. Does anyone want to guess the two things that you would need that much power for? One of them's easy, one of them's a little harder. Let's see. Let's see if we got any guesses. I'll say the easy one first. Robots. There could be solar powered, whatever, but if you're gonna be charging a lot of robots, you're probably gonna need I mean, and maybe they'll figure out a way to beam power. They're not necessarily that far away from it. But you're gonna need a lot of power for your robot army. And you don't really want to put gasoline in those things, make them make them a lot more explosive. Batteries, yeah, but what are you gonna have a coal power plant, where they go and recharge their batteries like solar? You're like, yeah, but solar isn't very mobile, right? So you need a mini reactor for your robot army. No one gets the harder one, but lasers, you know, Laser, I mean, not a bad guess. You do need data centers, but you could run those remotely. And when I say robots, it could be drones, like anything, not just like a man robot. But the other one is lasers. Lasers need tons of power. There's also future tech weapons. There's some weird ones where you're trying to burst everyone's eardrums and stuff. But those don't necessarily require as much power as lasers. Lasers require a lot of power. So I think if there are conflicts in the future, unfortunately, what we're probably looking at is lasers and robots. The lasers shooting the robots. Hopefully those happen on the sea or something, and we don't have to really deal with that. But yeah, humans don't have a great record of not targeting civilians when they get into we have a pretty bad as the wars have advanced, we've gotten pretty bad at you can look around right now and see how that's going in terms of targeting civilians. So yeah, might as well make some money on your nuclear on your small nuclear reactor stocks as the world devolves into robot and laser wars.
I guess Palantir and nuclear stocks thriving is not really what you wanted from what the situation you're describing. But you just made me think also, it's probably not going to be a bad thing if there's no people serving in military roles, having to fight wars and stuff in the future. But I was trying to look up, I didn't get an answer, how many active service members are there in the US military? Imagine if it was all automated into being drones, robotics, whatever, AI. I don't. Oh wait, here we go. We have some
No, I mean
totals.
that's not great, Stephen. We're already losing jobs everywhere else. The soldiers are
I
going to
know
lose their jobs too.
it's scary. Well, and
Yeah.
also I don't know if it's right to say or not, but some service members, it's that's kind of like a way out. They come from bad backgrounds or just not great upbringings, and it's really kind of like a fit for them. And I don't know. It's going to be a crazy world. It looks like there's over 1 million active service members from the totals I see from my Grok search. So yeah, just more job loss in the long run. It doesn't sound like that's super near term though, probably.
Yeah, I mean they'll probably still have soldiers, but I don't think we're that far away from the first autonomous drones being deployed in a war. That's why we really got to hope. Well, that's the thing. Like I like if you talk about like a war with China, like they're much more interested in economic war. I think because it's too easy. What I do know about powerful people is they do not want to put themselves on the line, right? And in a world where you could deploy drones, like there's an interesting thing. There's like nanotech that you can send with like poison that could just go kill someone. So I don't think powerful people like. I actually think that's a big deterrent to war. That's not like okay, these people are going to die, but I'm going to be safe here in my castle or whatever. We're not entering that phase of war. We're definitely entering the phase of war where people can kill the leaders in conflict. So that might be an interesting change. Where like if we get to this like robot laser, whatever thing, it's leaders, more targeting each other. But it probably goes back to that thing where like people are going to be targeted. They're not like leaders are probably going to target civilians before leaders because if they target leaders, then they're going to be targets. But still, like I think we're seeing it now. We're much more likely to get economic warfare. I mean, look at what happened with Russia, right? They thought it was going to be a cakewalk. And it isn't that easy anymore because it's not as if, and I think the main thing that's different is how fast you can like deploy troops and support and everything. Like, but back in the day, even World War II, with the German Blitzkrieg, they had taken so much territory by the time anyone could get there and send support troops. Meanwhile, before like, Russia attacks Ukraine, they thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Before long, they're fighting a lot of other forces. And, some drones are ending up in Ukraine and things like that. So I think that war has become that kind of war has become really difficult. I agree with Nick that cyber war. I mean, we're already engaging it. Like we're already engaging in cyber war. I mean, China's penetrated like most of our systems, which is why I think it's only that's why we're doing these like trade wars as opposed to that because I think people are keeping it in kind of the trade war situation, but we're in real like China's doing better. They're like we're advancing this because China's more advanced than us in nuclear. Like we don't really know what their military technology is because they're very hush hush about it. Nobody even knows how much China spends on the military each year, and I guess that's a benefit of uh of not being a democracy. Like I guess everybody gets to see our bills and our funding and see how much we spend. But I really hope that that like $1 trillion that the Pentagon lost. I hope at least some of that was going towards technology that we didn't. But we're in real trouble with China. Like that's why we better hope that it stays pretty economic. Because they're kind of kicking our butts in a lot of ways.
Well, now I'm not happy after hearing all that about the nuclear stocks and everything. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on it
At
and
least we're
see
trying
how
to
it
catch up,
develops.
right?
What'd you say?
I said at least we're trying to catch up.
At least we're trying. That's all we can do, right, everybody? We got some more questions before you were in here about some stocks, NVTS and CLSK. Any thoughts on either of those two?
NBTS looked really good. I know that yesterday. It's a whole new world. How's NBTS doing today?
I think they were up pretty big when we looked, like 19% or something like that.
Again? Damn. Damn it. I should have added them yesterday. They were up like 30% yesterday. And they were good in momentum score. Damn, that's a miss by me.
I
I mean,
thought
yeah, looking really good.
somebody said you did add them.
I added them in the trading portfolio.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, it looks really good. Looks like a miss. I'm mad at myself.
oh, I have another topic within this semi space for you. AMD is approaching new all-time highs, up 9% as well today. And I was a little bit surprised when you look at the year-to-date performance of AMD versus Nvidia. AMD is now up 95% year to date, Nvidia up 32%. So AMD just about tripling Nvidia's performance. Just with the sheer size of Nvidia, I feel like it's going to be so hard for them to keep up these growth rates of their stock and their company. Do you expect AMD to outperform them just based off like the sheer numbers of the different sizes of the companies? And so would you rather be positioned in AMD over Nvidia?
Yeah, I think so. Like I think that there's less downside um in AMD. It's been at like 99 net option sentiment from what I've seen. Um so yeah, I think I like it.
We also noticed that Hims was making a big move when we started the stream. I actually didn't even have them on the radar, but we saw them moving up 18%. They announced some new drug there, including pre-menopause and menopause care to their platform. So the HERS side of their business getting upgrades, and the stock is liking it right now. It's been one of the stocks that has made like a major move that we haven't really talked about too much. How do you feel about this company and their position? I think when we did bring them up last, we were kind of highlighting that like I don't know, are they making an enemy of the industry because they're kind of innovating? And I think they were getting sued by either Novo Nordisk or one of the ones that had one of the weight loss drugs. But what do you think of this company at this point?
It's on a nice. I mean, it's on 63 net option sentiment. I mean, upside is not in a good trend and downside is going up, so I don't love it. I mean, people are kind of crazy about this stock. I think this is a stock that is like more of a meme stock than a real stock. And I think what happens with it, and like before any of the hymns like mafia comes after me, what happens with these stocks? I think people oversample on their exposure, right? They use hymns, they know people that use hymns. They're like, oh, that's a product I know, I see it talked about, I see the ads. And then they kind of oversample that data and it makes them more excited. I didn't look like they're a 39 profitability and a 69 growth, 67 growth, right? I don't love that 39 profitability like for the way that people talk about it, right? Because there's long-term risks to the business that we know of. So if I want to get into something, I want it to be more profitable today than that.
I see Will commented ZVNA. I just tried to look up in Prospero. I did not see it, but I think I have seen some social media buzz about this. Actually, I'm not seeing ZVNA. Is it a different ticker? ZVRA maybe? If we could get Will,
Zivra.
if you're still here. I think it might be ZVRA, not NA, which is in
Yeah,
Prospero.
ZBRA is? Well, let's confirm it's the one that, instead
Yeah.
of just guessing the ticker, we should, if he's not even here,
No, he's here.
confirm
ZVRA.
the ticker. What?
It is the ZVRA one.
All right, let's take a look. Zebra Therapeutics. 81 in option sentiment. Interesting. But 35 upside. I can't get out of bed for that. Sorry,
Kevin's
Zebra.
asking about BBAI, which is cool because what is it? Big Bear AI? It's actually like one of our
Mhm.
most viewed shorts ever on our channel, and it just keeps getting views. So I'm hoping this company becomes massive because I think our video would do very well. But how is it looking in Prospero at the moment?
Is that when I mentioned that I saw it in airports?
I think
I like
so.
that I see it. It's cool that I see it in airports. Um, I mean, really, it looks really good on the short-term signals. 80 in option sentiment. That upside is like creeping up from where I've seen it. I like it. It works for me, especially if the market cap is at. Like, I like the business it's in. You know, it's got that airport business. I don't know what it does, but it's there and it's got the logo. Good brand awareness. Um, but yeah, I mean, AI services companies, especially with that kind of business, it's the right time. It's the right time for them. They might get they might get overvalued. But Yeah, I'll take a look
Well,
at ONDS. I mean, I
yeah,
like
we're
it. I
getting a
like
lot.
it. It doesn't quite get to my like in any of my best, but I'd consider it. I'd actually consider it. ONDS is on a nice non-option sentiment trend. I don't like the upside trend. What's the market cap? Let's take a look at the market cap. 3.34 billion. I mean, it's the kind of thing like I like some of the other I like some of the other more close, like the closer tickers to that, like NBIS or what's the other one? INOD. Actually INOD was down a little bit. Maybe I like this more now. Yeah, INOD is down. So I mean, I could add this. It's like if the market was healthier right now, I'd be interested in adding BBI AI or like both of those they both look interesting, but not that interesting. I forgot I got asked about CleanSpark. CleanSpark's looking very interesting. 90 net options, 91 social, 84 technical, 85 dark pool with a 59 short pressure. Yeah, I like how that's looking for sure.
Well, I love getting all of these ticker requests. I don't know, everybody. We're about to be in the YouTube Partner Program. We might have to start charging for these free insights that George's been giving out. I don't know. You better ask while you can. Another company I want to bring up on the stream today is Bunge, which I had never heard of, but they are the largest soybean processor and cooking oil producer in the world. They're up 11% today after more headlines about government embargoes with China and cooking oil. It's just fascinating seeing companies that like I never even heard of and they would like never be on the radar up off these headlines like day after day. And they had pretty decent Prospero signals. So it's just crazy seeing them highlighted and now they're making a big move.
That's crazy. Wait, okay, so that's hilarious. So we sell China the soybeans, and then they sell us the soybean oil. I think that's the arrangement, right? That's hilarious. That it's actually cheaper to ship soybeans across the world and have the oil come back to us. Um, yeah, I mean maybe that's the kind of thing that we're probably better off in terms of like quality control and things. I mean, I don't know what like bad soybean oil is really doing to us or anything like that. But yeah, good for them. That's exactly the type of thing. Is that in Prospero, that stock?
It is, yeah, I checked. Um, yeah, it is in Prospero. Crazy. I mean, if you're an investor in Bunge, like a long-term investor, and you wake up and you're at that stock is up 12%, you have to be like, oh my gosh, you just hit the lottery. Like I doubt that stock ever moves bigly, being such like a boring industry company. Its ticker is BG, if you weren't aware. Yeah, so crazy news for Bunge shareholders waking up today to that. Um, George, do you think there's any limit? We're seeing so many industries be affected by the government at this point and different, stakes that they're taking in different companies. Is this going to continue for like, the foreseeable future, or is this all happening during this time period while the administration is like, still in its newer state, and we're going to see these headlines and these moves end soon, or do you have any kind of gauge of that?
No. No, I mean, I don't think it's gonna end. I think
Hmm.
like I think it's I mean, this administration has told us exactly what it is, right? It's the most, and it shows this very consistently. It's the most kind of protectionist like government that I think we've seen, like, I don't know, maybe from like more than 100 years. Um, so yeah, we have to consider that, like, and we also know they're considering in investing in a number of companies. So protectionist stuff to them, I think, also includes funding whatever they have to fund here, whether that be taking stakes in companies, um, whether that be facilitating deals. We've seen some of the deals in like the Middle East where money is coming in even though that is foreign, even though that's foreign, like foreign money coming in instead of going out is definitely part of that protectionism. So yeah, I think we absolutely can expect that. And like the logical question, we talk about this all the time when we talk about like how far can the market go down. Like we think anything is on the table in terms of moves, even if it's buying SPY to hold up the market. So yeah, I mean, we know that this is a protectionist government. We don't know the extent that they're willing to go to double and triple down on that protectionism, but I think it would be foolish to assume that they wouldn't go pretty far, like off the map of what anyone else was willing to do before that.
I see Sean's comment, and we will get to it in just a second, but I have a question for you then. Does that set up the scenario where these companies that are big beneficiaries 4 years from now, if the tides turn, they'll go from being like the best stocks where they have all the support to it just being taken away so quickly? Even if that's not like a high percentage, it is a risk there, right? Or
Losing support?
my follow-up, like what I mean by that is like these companies are getting these big benefits right now from the government. Is there reason to believe that even post this administration that will continue, or is it then up again for like discussion, and could it be revoked, changed, and are these stocks that are benefiting so much, have do they have the risk down the line of it all just the rug being pulled?
I mean, it could possibly, but I don't really like. There's some things like, for example, the stake in Intel, right? There's some things that are pretty difficult to unwind, especially like, maybe they could sell it, but, I think a lot of this stuff, I don't like, I think a good way to look at this is like Obamacare, right? Trump hated Obamacare. He had a lot of, like, he had a fair amount of support for it. He couldn't get it repealed, like in his party, right? It's very difficult to reverse. And I think he kind of ran on that the first time too. I think now he's undermining some of the parts, but I don't think he's even able to get rid of it whole cloth. Um, it's very difficult. Like most people in government don't spend a lot of time unwinding other things. They just kind of like work on their new things. So no, I don't think there's a tremendous risk of that. And like I'm saying, even if there was, there might be things that are just not worth the time to unwind, even if people had the impetus to do it.
All right, so question from Sean. Have you guys done any research into individual stocks getting very high net option signals while the QQQ and SPY net options are very low? Have you found those high net option stocks still rise?
Um, we've done some research into this, and I don't really get that far because the issue is um, these stocks, these signals are all relative, right? And a lot of the time, what they're going to be looking for is institutional bets, and institutions tend to bet in the options markets on the highest growth things. Um, so that's all to say. Um, there's a lot of risk when QQQ and SPY are low, even in putting things in very high net option sentiment numbers. And that's something I've seen play out on the micro level. That's also something that we've seen in our tests. Like when QQQ and SPY net option sentiment are low, it's best to diversify a bit, pick your battles, and not really go for growth at that time. Obviously, we're going to steer towards things that are higher in our signals, but there's a lot of forces driving down the growth stocks that we really like when there's bearish movements. So I actually think it's the opposite. Like I really only look to leverage the biggest gainers when SPY and QQQ net option sentiment are healthy. Otherwise, I'm just minimizing risk, small long portfolio, diversifying more shorts.
Well, time flies when you're having fun. We have time for one more topic today, but any last questions any of our viewers have, be sure to comment them in the chat. Thank you all for being here today. We've crossed the 2,000 viewer mark. That's kind of like, every stream now, 2,000 viewers easy. But thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions, be sure to comment them. One more for you, George, from me. Apollo Global is bidding for Papa John's, and it's sending the shares rising, but the bid is for $64 per share, and even though Papa John's has bounced quite a bit, it is about 53.50 right now. So still a little bit of value there. Is that type of stock interesting for you? The fact that there's a bid now way above the actual trading price at the current moment, and then do you think we'll see more of this in the food industry? As a lot of those stocks have kind of lagged quite a bit recently.
No, I actually like those are my least favorite things to move on because like we're so far away and like actually a lot of people are so far away from that deal because like when we talk about like news events being kind of like broadly distributed, potentially there could be a lot of leaks like on a private investment banking deal like that, those are really locked down. So the chances that someone has or shares an insight on that is very low, and you're dealing with like in terms of the final deal, what it comes through at, like when that becomes official, how quickly you can move at the price, you're really disadvantaged versus the bots, and there's really no point in playing anything like that.
And it's interesting you say that because its Prospero signals are not that great. It's pretty even, 44 upside, 49 downside, so pretty in the middle
You're
from our
not going
signals
to
here.
get like something like a broader news event. It's much easier for institutions to like get their teeth into than like private deals are are tough.
hmm Well, it's about that time to do our switch over. I do want to take a peek at the QQQ because I saw it was at 0, back to 2. Okay. So
All
George,
right.
we'll catch you on the other side. Everybody, stay with me. George will be right back from the Prospero laboratory. Just a little switch over. Um, Thank you guys all for watching so far today. Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube or X. We are trying to hit that 20 like mark on YouTube still, and I see we got quite a bit of people in here, so definitely hit those like buttons. Like I said, the QQQ is at 2 in net option sentiment, and the SPY is at 0 at the moment. While we've been chatting on the stream, the markets have gone mostly sideways, maybe slightly lower. The Dow is actually now just barely red on the day. That is the only indice down, though. Interesting, the Russell is the leader again, so leading the indices right now. Marcin, I'll ask that. I'll let George answer that when he gets back in here. I don't think there's any immediate plans to offer signals for crypto markets, but we'll let George say for sure. Interesting move in the VIX today after being down a lot and then green quite a bit, now back in the red. So the VIX has been all over the map. The signals are looking red. We could check in on Bitcoin for you though, Marcin, today, see how Bitcoin is moving. Bitcoin is currently down today, down about 0.75%. Bitcoin has, I feel like for a while now, like the last couple of weeks and months, it's really just been lagging the overall markets. Interesting to see the hype kind of fade for Bitcoin after it hit that 100K mark. I feel like people were waiting for that milestone so long, and once it happened, it kind of a lot of the attention faded. But keeping our eyes on it for you. What hasn't faded though with the Bitcoin is the Bitcoin mining stocks that have now become, they've kind of like mutated into like AI data center companies like the Irons of the world, CLSKs, Hut, Riot, Mara, what else? Wolf, Bitfarms. There's so many. A lot of these stocks have done really well. Hive, wow, yeah, they've all gone crazy. So interesting to see there. What we're about to do, if you're new to the got to 125K not long ago, we're about to do the model portfolio update. So we're going to make live moves. I'm going to comment it. So if anybody's tuning in new, they will not be caught off guard. There we go.
All right.
We'll
Let's
pin it to
go.
the screen. We have a question on X from Nilufer. Is it possible to get API access for Prospero?
No, because there's a very good reason for that. Because we wouldn't be able to know if some like hedge fund was subscribing to it, and then people could front run our users, and that's the last thing we ever want.
Marcin was asking also, do you have any plans for crypto signals at any point?
Yes, but I don't know. 0 day. All right, where's QQQ and SPY? When I'm doing something a little less like thinking involved, I'll answer that.
QQQ is now 0 and SPY is 1.
I'm gonna do the crypto thing at the end. That's a little too involved.
I like that.
Sometimes
give
I can
them
do lower brain power things, but that one's kind of complicated.
Give them a cliffhanger, make them stay around. Interesting to see real estate and utilities have such good days. Looks like people are steering towards safer bets. We will look for opportunities there and perhaps some bear exposure to industrials and materials.
Yeah, our shorts are not doing very well. It's a lot of losers. 43, 36, yeah, okay. Here we got a little out of whack. But actually, we're doing pretty well on those. What's ESCA at? Main option sentiment?
Currently at 43, trending sideways in the time series.
It's higher than I want. What about CoreWeave?
CoreWeave is at 96.
I keep asking about that. I really need to get momentum score working on that. 10. God, that link is always so bad at refreshing. Must I like? It's very finicky. 355. Okay, come on, faster. Okay, let's get this properly. All right, a lot of industrial things down here. Damn. We got our materials and our industrials done pretty quickly. Brr. I think we already have some energy in there. Okay. We added in this NBTS yesterday, right? Yeah. Oh, here we go. We got our utilities. What's going on there? Do I want to take a flyer on that? Might be too risky. Oh, BG. There we go. We're going for it.
Wow, it's in momentum? That's crazy.
Yeah. Momentum's good at that. CAN. Okay. One more. It's too much industrials. Yeah, okay. We don't have enough time for this. We're going because we still have to get to our investing letter ones. All right. Let's do a little checkup here. Still looking pretty healthy. All these looking healthy. All right, how about our friends here? GGG. We'll give it one more day. Yep. All right, we're going to keep that. We're there. All right, done. All right. Okay, I have to do one more thing. What was I doing? Oh, sorry. I'll be right with you on the question. I just had to check on a ticker here. Got to check on one of my alerts. Oh, Wayfair is really beating me up. You can give it one more day. Okay. All right. The crypto question. Yes, we will get to it at some point. The issue with, oh God, what's going on with this thing? I need to get a new computer. This computer is like 10 years old. But it was powerful back in the day. So basically, as everybody knows, like the strength of our system is in the options markets, and the crypto options markets are non-transparent. There's a lot of like off-book stuff. It's very hard to get a feel for the whole options markets. And I've actually heard, large crypto hedge funds. One of them I talked to, I know some people out that say that they don't even know how to do that with all their technology, and they've actually found that just betting big on something is better than trying to predict what someone else is doing in terms of getting a return. And that says, everything that you could possibly ever need to say about crypto.
I am grabbing the link from a video we clipped from our Monday live stream of George sharing a great story. If anybody missed it, it's available in video form on our channel. I just shared it in the live chat on YouTube. So as we're wrapping up here, you guys want to check that out. It's a great story of kind of the foundings, the early beginnings of what set the stage for Prospero one day. But that's going to be all, folks. We are wrapping it up here for the Prospero live streams. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, George. We will be back Monday at 11 a.m. for the next live stream. So have a great week, everybody. See you then. Thank you, George. Ta-ta for now. Bye, everybody. Bye.